Could the Aegises return in Xenoblade Chronicles 3? In today's video, I'm going to discuss an idea I've had for how the Aegises could potentially make their return. It's less of a theory and more speculation, as theory would imply I have sufficient evidence to back my idea up. Nevertheless, I think it's cool and we'll be discussing it in this video. Please be aware spoilers for both Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2 will be discussed in this video. I hope you enjoy. After re-watching the initial trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a few more times since its reveal, I've had a recurring idea in my head. It's when this man, Lance, says,
"I refuse to believe you're him."
This could be referring to all manners of things, and it's not 100% clear yet what is meant by this line. But my first impression was that he's talking to Noah, as this line plays as soon as he jumps in to protect him, which could imply a linkage between Noah and the line. But what could it mean? This single line of dialogue is the thing that's triggered this cascade of thoughts I'm about to present in this video. What if, since the events of Xenoblade 1 and 2, and the two worlds of those games have been brought together, Rex and Shulk have died? Which is quite likely as they're both humans, or Homs, and it's probably been over 100 years since those games took place, as there's been enough time for at least two new factions to become thoroughly established and spread themselves across this vast new world, which, if we follow real-life logic, would likely take centuries to happen. So yeah, they've probably died of old age. Since their deaths, Shulk and Rex have almost certainly become legends of the Kivas and Agnes nations respectively, due to them both having played incredibly influential roles within the worlds these two nations originated from. Perhaps since their deaths, rumours have started floating around about the next heirs to their legendary weapons, the Aegis Sword and the Monado, chosen by their respective Aegises. Maybe the people on both sides of the war have been awaiting these new heroes who will wield these weapons and use them to bring an end to the war. I think if the story takes a route like this, then those new chosen heroes will be Noah and Mio, the two protagonists of this game. Noah is from the Kivas nation, and it's implied their ancestry hails from the world of Bionis and Mechonis, so he's likely to wield the Monado, chosen by Alvis. Mio is from Agnes and almost certainly has ancestry hailing from Ulrest, as she's Gormoti, so with the same logic would be likely to inherit the title of the Aegis Driver, having been chosen by Pyra and Mithra. This is a lot to take in, especially considering that the only slither of information I have to go off for evidence is the fact that Lance says this mysterious line, "I refuse to believe you're him," seemingly to Noah, which could be his reaction to finding out Noah is, for whatever reason, the heir to one of these legendary weapons. I don't really have any more evidence per se, but I can speculate on why this idea could work. You may be asking, but why would the Aegises get involved and bestow their powers onto new people? For Alvis, the reasoning would be quite simple. At the end of Xenoblade 1, his prediction was that,
"In this world, all life will walk towards the future, hand in hand."
which, yeah, that's clearly not happening here. So he could return to bestow his gifts onto a new heir to help skew humanity back on track towards this future he saw for them. For Pyra and Mithra, their reasoning for choosing a new driver to wield their power would likely be that their beloved second driver, Rex, sacrificed so much towards his goal of saving everyone from their dying world of Ulrest, that they probably wouldn't be able to forgive themselves if what he sacrificed so much for was all for nothing because of this war. The Aegises would also likely choose members of our cast of party characters as their new heirs, because they're the party characters, but also because they're a third party to the raging war. They wouldn't use their newfound powers to end the war by destroying one of the two opposing nations. They would aim to end the war through other means, which would mean both nations can live on in harmony, which is likely what the desires of both Aegises would be. I think it'd also most likely be Noah and Mio rather than any of the other characters in the main party, as they are described as the two protagonists in the information that Nintendo has presented to us online. Now, to what extent would they receive the power of the Aegises? I think it's most likely that they will receive the ability to use some of the Aegises' powers, perhaps gain the ability to use foresight, or another Aegis ability which we're yet to learn of which would amplify their off-seeing abilities. Maybe the Aegises are the reason that the party members will become Ouroboros. I'm not 100% sure what the powers they would gain would be, but I don't think they'll be the exact same as Shulk's and Rex's. I feel if they are to bring the Aegis characters back, I think it will be because they want to explore something about their characters and their abilities which is yet to be explored. But I am pretty certain that the Aegises won't act as Noah and Mio's blades in the gameplay, as they're probably taking the gameplay of Xenoblade 3 in a different direction, away from the driver and blade system of Xenoblade 2. As we see Senna and Mio, who are quite obviously blades due to them having core crystals, running around by themselves in the trailer without an obvious driver. It's also possible that the developers will want to steer away from any more of this Aegis and Foresight stuff within the main party of characters after the first 2 mainline games, which is fully understandable. I personally would prefer it if the Aegises didn't have anything to do with the party, as I think it would be cool to see a group of people overcome the story's hardships without relying so heavily on the characters with the legendary blades, like in Xenoblade 1 and 2. I do think, however, that no matter what, the Aegises will be back and play some role in this story, even if not directly involved with the main party. I just can't quite think of how yet. But if they were to bring back the remaining Aegises and their weapons back as a main focus in the game for the story and the main gameplay, I think this is one of the ways in which they could do it. So, what do you think of this idea for how the Aegises could return in Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Please feel free to discuss in the comments. If you enjoyed, please consider liking the video so it becomes visible to more people, and subscribing so you don't miss any more upcoming Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or Nintendo related content from me. Thank you very much for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.